This is Unit 2, Lesson 1, Example 1C. What is a constant of proportionality and how is it represented in a graph? So constant of proportionality is a very big part of this unit. We're also going to talk about how it's called the direct variation. And the first part asks us about constant of proportionality in a graph, but we're also going to discuss constant of proportionality in an equation. So in a graph, constant of proportionality is always the ratio of the y over the x. So the y is always on top in the numerator, the x is always on the bottom. That's just the rule. And let me fix this label. So constant of proportionality in a graph, it's the x over the y. So if I'm going to write that in words, it's the ratio of the y coordinates to the x coordinates. And another really cool thing is that when x equals 1, the y point is the constant of proportionality and the unit rate. So here's an example of that. So that same picture with the giraffe, notice if we go down to where the x point is the 1, and we go up to the y point is the 0.75, that's the exact same thing that we got when we worked out our unit rate up here, where we divided and we got 0.75 each time. So wherever the x is 1 and the y is the unit rate. The y is the constant of proportionality. And those are just rules that we have to learn, that it's always the y over the x. It's always the ratio of the y coordinate to the x coordinate. It's always the up and down numbers compared to the sideways numbers. But we also need to talk about the equation way, because the equation way of constant of proportionality is actually the absolute easiest. So constant of proportionality in an equation looks like this. It's always y equals kx. I don't know who decided k for this variable, but k is the constant of proportionality. So if you were ever looking for constant of proportionality in an equation, and sometimes they'll trick you, like they'll put an h and a w here instead of a y and an x, it's still always whatever number is in front of the y. So your constant of proportionality, your unit rate, is whatever is in front of the y. And you can't see that, so let me make it bigger, and I'll just draw an arrow to it. So if you look down at example 2, you can see right there, 3/4. We already figured out that our ratio was 3/4. Our y is 3 and our x is 4. We could put 9/12 there, but constant of proportionality is usually simplified. And you are going to be working on a Khan Academy activity where it's, for the most part, going to ask you to use a simplified fraction as your final answer. So from a graph, the constant of proportionality is pick an ordered pair, and it's the y number over the x number. From the equation, the constant of proportionality is the number that is right in front of the x.